What's up, everyone? This is your host, Sean Johnson, creator of Benchminer Hockey, and welcome to episode number 42 of the Benchminer Podcast. This is the hockey podcast that covers all things single A and now senior A hockey. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Really helps us out. As always, Mr. Derek Overton.
How we doing?
And today, welcome back, Mr. Travis Ridgen. How you doing, boss?
Doing good. Not as good as Derek's stash. You could feed a family of 4 with that thing.
Oh, you might be able to. That's that's good. I like that.
You Kurt Cobain?
Oh, goodness.
You a Kurt Cobain fan at all?
Nah, it doesn't really stand out. It's just it came along, and if I shaved it off one time, and I'm never shaving it off again, so she's sticking around.
The quote the late great mustache rides. Who wants a mustache ride?
Yeah, everyone's down for a mustache ride.
You should see when he shaves his beard, he looks like Farva.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
It is. Real quick, I just want to do a quick shout out to our sponsor, Glass Bangers Hockey. If you haven't yet, go check out their website. If you use code BenchMiner15, you might save 15% on your next order. And keep an eye on their website because Benchminer Hockey merch is coming to their website soon, so keep your eyes peeled. So, last time we had you on, Travis, we had a good time. We're going to have a good time tonight. Let's have some fun. So,
hell yeah.
You reached out to us. You wanted to come back. What's on your mind?
Lots on my mind, man. I saw some of the interviews you guys were doing. They were doing really well. I really enjoyed the Greg Hussey episode. Greg touched on a lot of things that really resonated with me. I've never met Greg. Greg is responsible for my only FPHL win on the record, so thanks, Greg. But yeah, I really enjoyed the interview, and I thought it was a lot of good things that he talked about. So, you know what? Why don't you get me on for round 2? I can't let Greg do a better interview than I had before, so we got to one-up him here.
Yeah, Greg was a fun interview. We had a good time with him.
Can we appreciate just how big his shoulders are? Like, that guy's shoulders are astronomically wide. Like, I'm serious. Like, if
we're going to build tape measure and test them.
If there was one muscle you want to build to look jacked, it'd be the shoulders, the delts, and the chest. And unless Greg is using some type of like widened out camera, the guy looks astronomically wide. So I might have some catching up to do in the gym this spring to match up with Greg Hussey. G Huss.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that till just now. You are so correct about that. He's got a build.
I'm sure he would appreciate that, though. Next time we get Greg on, so this is Travis' second episode. So next time Greg's second episode comes on, we'll ask him, "Hey, bro, how'd you get them shoulders, man? What's the secret?
What's your routine for big delts? How many reps? How many sets?" And Trav also wanted to say thanks for the FPHL win, the one and only.
The one and only. Oh my goodness!
Technically, there is a mistake on my record. I am technically undefeated in FPHL because the one game I played in Watertown, other buddy took the loss, and then in Mississippi, Joe Shepard took the loss because he allowed the game-winning goal. So technically, I am 1-0 in the FPHL, undefeated.
And that was the 7-6 game, the beer can game, right?
That's correct, the beer can pyramid game.
Beer can pyramid. In Watertown, and I missed it. Son of a biscuit.
Someone sent me a clip of Babs getting kicked out in Watertown the other day, and it gave me deja vu. I'm like, that basically was what happened with me.
Oh, goodness. And you know what? To be honest with you, it kind of sucks because mine and Derek's hometown team is the Watertown Wolves, and it seems like they're always in the news for the wrong reasons. And I know it may seem like we're picking on them, but I promise we're not trying to. It just kind of comes naturally sometimes. I'm sorry.
It goes naturally. As he says to Lieutenant Dan, "Stupid is as stupid does, Lieutenant Dan. And you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, right? Like, if you're doing great things, you're going to be celebrated. If you do dumb shit, you're going to win dumb prizes, unfortunately."
Right. So
100%.
From a player's perspective, someone that's actually been there, someone that's played there, what is the problem in Watertown?
Boy, all right.
If you can narrow it down to one, there may be more. I don't know.
If I had to simplify it down, I think ego. I think my life coach likes to use this saying: if you want to find out the persona or the mantra of the entire workforce, look at the bottom level employees, and they'll tell you everything you need to know about the CEO, the head executive. And if you look at the quote unquote bottom level employees, which would be the players, when you look who runs the bottom of the players, it's a perfect reflection of the guy at the top of the chain, right? I think, like I mentioned, ego gets in the way, absolutely. I think that players are mistreated, and I've used this analogy so many times, but in the workforce, if let's say I was working for you 8 hours a day, And Sean, you said, Trav, go take 30. I'm going to pay you for the 30, and we have complimentary coffee in the break room, right? I'm going to be happy. I'm just getting paid to relax. I'm going to have a nice cup of coffee, a little pick me up, a tiramisu, if you will. And I'm going to probably be more productive for you for the rest of the day. If you tell me, Trav, go take a break, I'm not paying you for it. You can go buy your own coffee, or here's a coffee, pay me for it. I'm probably not going to be very productive and very loyal towards you. And I had an FPHL general manager say this recently to me. He said, we just need some loyalty around this team. And I said, well, maybe you don't have any loyalty because you don't treat the guys in a way that's worthy of being loyal to, right? I think of men when they feel respected will do anything for you, right? Like men will go to the front lines on the battlefield in the war for you, and they will go die for a country they feel respected by and respected for. Men will also do the most heinous of crimes when they feel disrespected, which is another situation or another topic for another day. But when you feel respected by your general manager, your coach, you can do anything for them. When you think your general manager and your coach is a retard, I don't want to do anything for you above the absolute bare minimum. Or like when you genuinely do not deserve my loyalty and you approve to be disloyal, I'm not going to do anything above the bare minimum for you. And you're not going to get anything above the bare minimum from the other players. Right? Like there's a reason why most guys only play 2 years in the league because they've had enough of the business side. They get jerked around enough by enough guys, and you play for 6 teams in 2 seasons because nobody wants to be honest with you. And nobody actually wants to be a man about things and tell you to your face what they're actually going to do. And you say, hey, this is happening. Can you please tell me why? Well, no, that's actually not what's happening. No, I have my own 2 eyes. I was there. I witnessed it. Now you're lying to my face. Why would I want to play for you or be honest or be loyal towards you? Right?
Right. You make some
Very
valid
good
points
point.
there.
Very good point. Yep.
Right? Like I could play for a team that's the worst team in the league. We give up 60 shots a night, and I'm in net for 10 goals every single night. If my general manager pays me on time, I feel respected, and I feel valued and appreciated by my coach and the rest of the staff. I'll go and I'll sit there and I'll soak 10 goals every single night because I'll do it for the team. The second you disrespect me and you make me feel taken advantage of or unappreciated, I'm not doing anything for you, anything more.
Oh, 100%. I agree with
That's
you. I agree with you
that's
there.
just
I mean,
a good life
I
point
can't
too. That
speak
can go with anything too.
I can't speak a lot on Watertown because, like I said, I'm not affiliated. We don't really cover them too much because they politely asked me not to. So,
They give you the
um,
banner and say, get lost.
well, it just sucks when you got a 11 team league or whatever we got here, and I can only cover these ones, and then not this one because fans are attacking me like, oh, you're picking on my team or you're not covering my team. Politely put, I was asked not to. You had an NBC deal. I don't know if that's true or false. Doesn't really affect me. Doesn't phase me. So it is what it is.
I will say the Watertown fans are so incredible.
Oh yeah,
for,
100%. Love them.
for all the things that they have to deal with that team and management wise, like those fans deserve better. They really do. And I'll just use a couple examples. Cheryl and Dwayne, they're both season ticket holders. Cheryl pays her hard-earned money for a season ticket. So does Dwayne. And they get a jersey and whatnot. And I've recently been on the hunt to try to collect all my FPHL jerseys. I know there's been a lot of teams, but I'm just trying to collect them so I can have a man cave one day and put them up and frame them. And Cheryl heard I was trying to find my Watertown jersey, and she has my Watertown jersey. So she reaches out and says, listen, I have the jersey. I'm going to send it to you for free on the house. Merry Christmas. Here you go. Like, first off, Cheryl, thank you so much. I've given her a lot of shout outs on the podcast, but it really means so much just because she was so nice to me during my time there. She also did an act out of the goodness of her heart. She didn't have to do that, but she wanted me, after my poor experience, to have my jersey. Like that, I think basically sums up the fans in Watertown. Kayla, she's got blue hair. She's a really nice girl. She was there day one. She's always one of the first people in the rink. There's just so many fans that deserve better than what they're getting. And it's unfortunate because ultimately they have to go and support a team that mistreats their players and players that mistreat members of the community, which is very unfortunate to see. And I shake my head at because ultimately that's the reason why you're getting paid. Like you make money because people come to the games. People come to the games to spend their money to be entertained. And if you piss enough people off, nobody's going to come to the games, and you start getting crowds at the Motor City Rockers. You're going to be out of business in 2 years, which is unfortunate because there's all the locations in the Fed, all the teams. There's so much room and so much potential to be successful, but they just seem to have such big egos in the way. They're never going to accomplish it, right? The sum of the whole is greater than that of the individual parts, but nobody seems to want to realize that or acknowledge that.
Right. I'll tell you my experience real quick. So I was with the Wolves from, I don't remember, 2015, 2016 up to 2020, I think, somewhere in there. And anyway, you take time, you build relationships, you make sponsors happy, you make fans happy. We had that building rocking in 2018. I think we're averaging close to 1,200 fans, and the building can only hold 15. So I mean, when you're averaging 1,200, that's pretty darn good.
Mhm.
So building was rocking, had fans, had sponsors, life was good, had a great staff, had a better team, ended up winning the championship in 2018. Great group of guys. They were happy, we were happy. We had a good thing going. And eventually, as we all know, you know, you can't have the same team every year. Staff come and go. But what I'm basically trying to say is Watertown is a great hockey city. The fans do deserve the best. There's the reason why there's 3 banners hanging in that arena. Um, it sucks to see that current ownership slash management has driven away so many people and fans. Because last I checked, I think their attendance is atrocious. But it's just a sad thing to see. Like you said, the community deserves so much better. It once was a great place, and now it's not. Like, I mean, I did go to one game, and I didn't even enjoy myself,
Which game did you
and
go
that
to
says something. A home opener.
this season?
Hmm.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate game.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother story. But basically, what I'm trying to get at is, I really hope that Wolves ownership and management, I hope they don't look at this and think like, oh, bench miners just talking shit about us or this or that.
Well, Sean,
We
here's the
just
thing.
try to talk about difficult situations in hopes that you make your product or organization better. Because that's what bench miners all about. We try to be as positive as possible. You don't see half these problems with the other teams in the league. I'm not saying that there are no issues with any other team. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, you know, us talking about issues in Watertown seems to be a frequent
Yeah,
when it
Sean, I
should be
think
once in a blue moon.
I'll use this
Right.
analogy. So, in a relationship, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, if somebody brings something to the table and says, "Okay, listen, you did this. This upset me. It hurt me, etc." They didn't just pull it out of their ass, right? Like there's a genuine reason why they're bringing that to the table. So let's say you've been spending too much money and it hurts me because I work hard for my money and my money is our money and our money is being spent because you're recklessly spending it. Or, for example, you said something that really upset me. That was really mean and that really hurt me. I don't appreciate that, right? It is your job as the other party to say, okay, listen, I may not agree with it. I may not like what you said. I may think that you're being dramatic. However, I need, as a professional, to listen to the feedback that you are giving me and say, okay, how can I improve on this? Well, if the players are leaving left and right, nobody feels any loyalty towards the team, maybe me as the boss are mistreating my players. Maybe we as a team are offering a very unauthentic, ingenuine experience. And maybe the fans are just tired of the degenerate players in the community doing things that just I shake my head at. I'm not going to get into specifics. But why don't we just be professionals, take criticism constructively, and make everything better for the owners, for the management, for the players, for the fans? Everybody wins. But unfortunately, the egos, both in Watertown and many other teams, are so large that you'll never even penetrate that barrier to be able to take that feedback and make the product better. It's as simple as that. And it's so sad because, like you mentioned, Sean, like the fans in Watertown and Mississippi, they were incredible to me. They deserve so much better. Specifically, the Watertown fans deserve so much better than what they're getting. And it's just unfortunate because you could be so successful. But it just makes me shake my head. It really does.
Yeah, unfortunate circumstances, I guess. Like I said, I hope that they hear this, and I hope they don't think like, "Oh, we're just here to bash them." Not at all. I would love to come to the games. I would love to root on the boys. I would love to come drink and have a good time with my family. But you're not putting out a product. You're not putting out I don't want to say a service, but just the environment, the culture. It's not there right now. They've driven away so many of like the diehards. Like there used to be groups of people that would show up to these games, and now they've dwindled. They don't even watch them on YouTube anymore. That's how sad it is. So we used to go out in groups to these games, and we haven't done that in a couple years.
I hope that they
So
can learn
I
from their
hope they get
mistakes. I
that
really
figured
do.
out.
I agree.
So
I
what they
hope they
can
can learn
do.
from mistakes. I hope that they can realize that there's a better way to do things. Not in every element. There are some good things that they're doing, but as an overwhelming, I guess, moral of the story, there's a lot of room to improve before the team folds. But unfortunately, they may be coming sooner than they would admit.
Right. And while we're on the topic of Watertown, to close this out a little bit, shout out Jeff Barrett. I know he recently broke his leg, I guess.
Dude, can I say Jeff is a beauty? Of all the people in Watertown, there are a few absolute beauties. Jeff is an outstanding dude. Such a powerful voice for such a small man. And Jeff, you are awesome. You are a legend. You're a beauty. I miss our conversations at the rink at morning skate. I miss seeing you at Tully's. And yeah, dude, you are awesome. You're definitely one of the highlights of my time playing against Watertown and Motor City and being in Watertown as a goalie. So you're an awesome, you're a beauty, buddy. And you said he broke his leg, so Jeff, I hope your leg gets better soon. I didn't see
Yeah,
that. Wishing you all the
I
best.
saw the post he put on there where I think he missed the top step of the broadcast booth or something like that. I'm not sure exactly,
Oh,
but
jeez.
regardless, I really hope he heals up and feels better. I know he's got a couple dogs keeping company at home, so hopefully, dogs are nice to you, Jeff.
Bring dog sled to the rink. You can bring them up to the booth and you can just sit in the dog sled and just call play by play up there. They may have to give him a
Yeah,
couple books to get up there, but
for sure. Actually, they might have to move the party to his house. Brews with Barrett might need to take place at the Barrett household this week or something. No
uh,
Tullies for you, Jeffrey.
I enjoyed talking to Jeff. Jeff was really awesome. He's a cool guy.
For sure. We love Jeff. So I want to talk about Port Huron real quick.
Oh
I'll
boy.
keep this short, as short as your career there. But oh man, you're a local legend there in Port Huron. I just want to know, did anybody ever
They
acquire
made
your
more
jersey?
Instagram posts about me in Port Huron than they did in Watertown. Like they thanked me for my time, they thanked me for my service, and I never stepped foot, not only in the locker room, in the state this season. So the Prowlers, Alex Johnson, and all the guys over there at Grammar, you guys are awesome. What a bunch of beauties. I had a good laugh at that. Port Huron legend.
So I
Legend.
do got to ask though, why did they acquire your rights just to I don't understand the trade, I guess. Do you know what happened or why?
I know exactly what happened. I was there. I told them to trade me because I wasn't going to budge on certain things that I believe are right and wrong within the team. And I said, if you don't like it, you can trade me. And they traded me. So originally, I told my liaison to trade me to Mississippi. He said, I told him trade me. He's like, where? Mississippi. I don't do deals with Joe Pace. I don't like him. Well, call Port Huron, trade me there, and then they can flip me to Mississippi. And that's exactly what happened.
Okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
'cause
Joe Pace is always going to have a solid relationship with Port Huron because I don't know if he hails from there, but he was there for many moons.
Many
Port Huron
moons.
Prowler's legend, probably bigger Prowler legend than I was. So
I'm just saying, does anyone in Port Huron have your jersey? Like that would be sick.
I should follow up on that. See, did they print a jersey? I know I was only there for
I
about
mean,
44 minutes, but
I
For
was going to say, did
44
they even have enough
minutes.
time to print your jersey? I don't know.
say when is the jersey raising ceremony? When do I get my Ring of Honor for the Prowlers?
Can you imagine,
Right.
like Travis Ridgen section next to the Doc Emmerich booth or something? I don't know.
It's one seat.
Just one single seat. It is wheelchair accessible also, so it's a valid seat.
No, it's the
It's
trash
a
can right by the
valid.
Zamboni entrance.
Oh my goodness, ridiculous. So overall, I mean, you had a stint in Mississippi. So, like you said, you went to Port Huron to get traded to Mississippi. What was your overall experience like in Mississippi? A lot of people assume it's life is great. You're at a big arena in front of great fans. You live on the beach. What was your experience like?
Different.
Oh God, big smile. I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, I like to smile because smiling is positive energy, and I think you get a lot more. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And I used to tell that to one of the guys in Mississippi and in Watertown a lot. They hated it, but you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. But if you're like me, you catch more honeys being fly, and they hated that part. But that's a separate story for a different day.
Oh, see, that's a good one.
It's a good one. It definitely is. The fans are awesome. First off, 4,500 people opening night, crazy electric
Oh,
atmosphere,
wow.
and the Coliseum was rocking. I wish I could have played that night. I know we fell down, I think 5 or 6-0 early on. I was really hoping to kind of get in that game halfway through to experience the crowd because it was just so electric, even though we were losing. But the atmosphere is great. Not living on the beach. Joe bought a 10,000 square foot warehouse that they converted into, or are currently converting into a living quarters. So about half the place is done, the other half isn't in the bedrooms. Um, I slept on the living room floor on a mattress for might have 3 or 4 days, and then I slept on the garage floor for another week. So a little bit less than luxurious, but the housing, all things considered, was nice. The kitchen was nice, bathroom was nice. We had like nice TVs. If I had my own room, it probably would have been one of the nicer living setups I'd had. Unfortunately, I was stationed in the garage on a concrete floor on a mattress, so a little bit different than the other guys' experience. Well, actually, that's an
I
interesting
know it's
story.
in the south, but is there heat in the garage at all?
No, it was cold. I'll tell you that story, Sean, because it's interesting. Because when I got there, I asked, Joe says to me, everybody gets their own room. I'm like, that's fantastic. I just spent sharing 9 guys in a household with one bathroom in Watertown. This has got to be a big upgrade. And so I get there. They just had a guy go up and call up, and I said, so do I take his room? They told me, no, we don't know when he's coming back down, so don't touch it. Fine. Where do you want me to sleep? They said, well, just grab a mattress from out back and just put it in the living room floor. Just like plop it right in the middle of the living room floor. And so I did that for about 3 or 4 days. Problem being is like I'm an early bedtime kind of guy, so I probably go to bed like 10:30, 11. I like to shut her down. But most guys in the Fed, because I'm an outlier to that, like to go to bed at midnight, 1, maybe even 2. And with my mattress, and I'm smiling out of some uncomfortability about it. But with me being in the living room, the guys love to watch Entourage till like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I think they were deaf because they listened to it on like level 75 volume. And so I'd be sitting on the mattress, cuddled up with my pillows, ready to sleep, and they'd be blasting the TV, lights are on, and a bunch of other extracurriculars. And so I remember after about 2 nights, I said, "You guys planning to go to bedtime any soon?" And one of the guys said, "You can go to bed, Trav." And I thought, "Where do you expect me to go to bed? You guys are blasting the TV. There's smoke and lights and everything in here." So you know what I did? I took my mattress, I dragged it out to the concrete floor in the garage. I parked it there. There was no noise. It was dark. And so I slept on the garage floor on the concrete garage floor on my mattress for the next week and a bit before I got let go. So that was the living setup in Mississippi. Not quite on the beach though. The beach was very nice after practice. I didn't have a car, so I was kind of at the mercy of whatever the other guys were doing. It would have been nice to spend some time on the beach. I did after I got cut because they were practicing and I was having free time to do whatever I wanted. So I went and sat on the beach for a bit, which was awesome. But that was my experience summed up in 12 days or 13 days, whatever it was I was there for.
Right on. Yeah, when you said bedtime, it got me thinking about this one story in Watertown where at the time the boys lived at Eagle Ridge. I don't know where they live now, but I think if I remember right, I think it was Kyle Powell, Anton Lenartson, and Alicia Pitson were all roommates. And Zippy, as most people know him, Zippy, he went to bed early. You know, he was like 10 o'clock latest. So I remember one night, I think it was me, Kyle, maybe Jesse Ficini, uh, maybe Dallas Ingram, Anton Lenartson. I don't remember. Just a bunch of us hanging out. I think we were just watching movies, drinking beer. And Zippy, in his big Russian accent, he comes down. He's like, "Shut the fuck up." He's like, "I tried to sleep." I was like, "What did he say?" And he said, "Shut the fuck up. He's trying to sleep." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Duly noted. Kind of scared me a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic because you don't want to piss the guys off, right? Like there's an energy and there's a synergy in the room of like, guys, go to bed. I'm going to bed. Well, who is this guy telling us to go to bed? What's best for everybody here? And at least in my situation, it was best for me to just move my shit to the garage so you can continue watching TV and having a time, and I can go to bed. So, yeah, you don't want to disturb the energy too much. Although I'd already rocked the boat at that point. So,
Well, right. And I mean, well, like you said too. I mean, typically, I know you're going to have your younger guys want to go out, have a good time, or stay in and drink, have a good time, whatever case may be. But if you're disturbing your goaltender, that's one thing you should never do. That's one thing.
Don't mess with the
there
goaltender.
was one guy in Motor City. I won't mention his name.
Don't fuck with the goaltender's aura.
There was one guy in Motor City. I won't mention his name. We were in Delaware, and I was opening the gate as I always do because I never played. And I'm trying to open the door and I'm trying to be as productive and helpful to the guys as I possibly can. They probably want me to open the door versus just sitting in the corner like the other guy doing nothing because I want to endear myself to my teammates. And one of the guys says, "Trav, why don't you just get out of the way? Make room for the guys that actually matter and actually play." And at that point in time, I thought,
"Oh wow!
First off, you're an asshole, right? Like I've been nothing but nice to you. I've actually gone out of my way to try to help you along the way. Why would you say that? That's not productive for our relationship or for the team, right? But there is a lot of guys like that in the Fed, unfortunately. That guy still is with the team, I think, at least. He ended up apologizing at a later date to me, but he had behavior after that kind of further drove that hammer and that nail home. That was his character. So, as I like to say, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. because it's probably true.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, respect goes a long way. I mean, it kind of boils down to everything we've been talking about. Like, respect does go a long way. It doesn't matter, player wise or staff wise
Yep.
or ownership. It all comes back to respect.
Like I said, man, you feel respected, you'll run through a wall for your boss, you'll do anything for your teammates. You feel disrespected,
Yes.
you're getting the bare minimum and nothing more, maybe even less.
Right.
Yep.
And back to my story real quick. Zippy, who told us to shut the fuck up because he was trying to sleep. I'm still sorry, Zippy. I didn't realize I was being loud, and you still kind of frightened me, but I still love you.
Come on, put the bong down.
Now he's
Yeah.
like a big time real estate agent down in Tampa Bay, so he's doing something right.
There we go.
Transition.
He probably still uses his big, thick Russian accent. You buy a house.
You buy a house now.
Yeah, dude, he's got the thick accent. I love him to death. I love him. So, Trav, let's say that you're commissioner of the Fed for a day. I know there's a lot you'd probably change, but what's a few of the most important things that you'd want to change?
I can do whatever I want.
You're a commissioner. You can make a rule if you want in the middle of the season if you want.
I bring Amesbury back. I bring myself back. I tell the owners that we need to look at what's actually best for the league, for bringing people in the door, and for the camaraderie of the different teams. What's actually good for growing the game, because getting rid of Diamond Hands Amesbury myself is not beneficial to anybody involved. I think that we also need to clean up our act to certain players. So, for example, if you've been to jail or you have beaten your wife, you don't get to play in the league. Like, playing professional hockey is a privilege, not a right. And if you do act like that, and you act like a jagaloon, or if you're going to coach girls in the Watertown High School, you do not get to play on the team. You should not be playing on the team. You should be gone, exiled to wherever you're going to play, because you're not worthy of that privilege to play professional hockey, to get a paycheck, and just call this your job. I think that's the first thing. I think the league also needs to identify its identity of, are we competing with the NHL, the American League, in a skill game, or are we entertainment on ice, right? Getting rid of Amesbury would go to more towards, we're going to compete with the NHL. Getting rid of all the other excitement in the league and suspending guys for fighting shirtless, although I wasn't the biggest fan of that. Suspending guys one game for fighting shirtless. We are trying to be a skill league now, apparently, when we should be embracing the fact that we are NASCAR on ice, we are a jungle, we are entertaining, we are named after Slapshot, the movie, for goodness sake. Why don't we embrace that? Because that market does not exist. Nobody's marketing to that demographic. And there's so many hockey fans in the Fed. They don't know why they like hockey. They don't know much about it, but they know they love it. And they come to every single game. So why don't we embrace what they actually love and bring people in the door? But unfortunately, and this is the reality of it, Sean, there are such big egos across the league. Nobody's going to be willing to take that advice or that criticism, or, like I mentioned to you earlier, the players bring something to you, listen to them. They're going to tell you what's actually wrong with the team. The season ticket holders may not, but the players will, because they see everything day in, day out. But I wish that they would listen to the players. Because, like I said, the players will tell you the secret sauce to how to run it, but they won't.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could change it, I would get rid of all the people that are influencing that. I'd clean house with management, and I would make the Fed great again.
Nicely said.
I like the use of the word secret sauce. I'm a sucker for a secret sauce, so I like that. That was good.
Oh, I know what that mustache. You got a little bit of dinner left over there, Derek.
Oh yeah, I had some pork Szechuan noodles. It's probably still lingering.
It doesn't sound half bad, but I'll tell you this: you have to have something unique to make money, right? Like, making money is business, right? I give you a product, I give you entertainment, I give you a service, you give me money. What are you giving to the fans in return for their hard-earned money? Because these people are blue-collar, hard-working people that work hard for their money. If they're spending $45 to come watch a Fed game, what are you giving them in return? Well, I can watch the games for free on TV. I can watch the games for free on the NHL on TV. What are you actually giving me? And if you're giving me degenerates in the community, you're giving me a lesser skilled hockey than the NHL or the AHL, no real value for my money, right? Like, Joe Pace is an incredible entertainer, and I think they could probably take a couple notes out of that. Unfortunately, Joe can't do a lot of things that he wants to do because he's kind of strapped at the heels by the decision makers, which told me why I'm not in Mississippi.
Right. No, absolutely. I hear you. That's kind of why we actually have this podcast in a way. Like, people actually do watch it. Even when we were in Binghamton, Coach Sherwood even was like, "Yeah, I tuned in last week." So I mean, it's good to see that coaches and executives within the league are watching this. So I'm really hoping, Trav, that your episode kind of wakes them up a little bit, and they can at least say, hey, like, this is what we did right. This is what we did wrong. Let's try this to make this better. Let's not do this again, or, so on and so forth. That's
I'll
the
say
point of
this.
our podcast, and that's what I'm trying to go for.
I'll say this to any management or any people of influence in the league watching. I'm not an irrational person. I'm very logical, and I'm very rational in regards to a lot of things that have happened in the league. And for my situation specifically, I feel like, well, me and Diamond Hands, it was let's just get rid of them because it's easier to just get rid of them than actually deal with the issue because there really is no how do we work together on this or collaboration within the league. When in reality, at least I can't speak to Diamond Hands, but I know for myself, if we had just had a conversation, Don and I, or Barry and I, or whoever and I, and just said, okay, listen, how do we make this work? How do you win? How does Trav win? How does the team win? How do the fans win? How does the league win? Well, there's a way to talk about this. But when you lay down the iron fist and say, this is how it's going to be, don't like it or leave or get lost, nobody's ever going to win. Like there's so much that could be done success-wise and money to be made by having me in the league, by having Diamond Hands in the league, and by just parking everybody's ego at the door. Just a little bit. A little bit of ego is healthy, but the degree in which it's at in the Fed is not healthy. And I think that they miss that. I really think that they do miss that boat.
Right. Well, like you said, the league. Oh, I want to watch my wording here.
Say
The
it, Sean.
point of the. I know. I'm typically like unfiltered. I'll just let it go. But we're not gonna do that right now.
As
I'll
Dr.
keep
Phil,
those feelings aside.
what? It's just another word for forget everything I just told you. I will now tell you what I mean. God bless Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
You guys never talk.
But seriously, I know they got to make money, and I know every team needs butts and seats. There's a way to go about it, and when you get rid of people like you said, you and Amsbury, you just lost a ton of bums in seats, as they put it.
I
And
remember in Motor City, there's fans that would always come to practice, but they would come to practice and they would go from end to end to watch me. And I remember Coach gave me a hard time one time. He's like, "Hey, why don't you tell your fans to go away?" And I thought to myself, I didn't verbalize this to him at the time, but those fans pay your salary. They come to practices to watch me. They come to the games in hopes of seeing me in the game. Do you have any idea how much money you could be making if you actually embrace them instead of telling them to get lost because they're an inconvenience to you? I think that sums up the mentality of the entire league. You could make so much money. You could get rich. You get so rich instead of having half the league fold over every 3 years, like it has over the course of history. But they don't want to listen to any of that type of stuff.
oh, you got a point. You make some valid points.
Fans are everything.
The one thing I'm going to pick on Watertown one more time, but this is another thing that I don't like that some teams do. I'm only using Watertown because I know of this example. They sold a bunch of shirts. I can't remember what they were now, but they're Chase Tippin related, basically.
Yep, I remember
Sold
that.
a bunch of Chase Tippin shirts, merchandise, whatever, in hopes. I won't say in hopes, but they announced that they signed him. They sold a bunch of merchandise, but then Tips is like, I never signed in Watertown. And then he never reported to Watertown, never played a game for Watertown. So like the team is making money off all this. I don't know how much they sold. So maybe they made $5, maybe they made 500. I don't know. But regardless, they made money off of a player that never actually signed with the team. So I thought that was kind of jacked up.
Oh, like I said
I'm sure it
before,
happens more than just once, or I'm sure it's happened more to other teams too, but
well, I experienced it
other
myself.
players.
I mentioned to you earlier, you look at the bottom level employees, they'll tell you everything you need to know about the CEO. And that stands very true with that.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that any of the teams that you played for in the Fed, at least, we'll say Motor City, Watertown, we'll keep out the Prowlers, they don't really count, in Mississippi, do you think that any of them actually used you for your following?
Yes.
And in
100%.
what ways?
I think they saw there's money to be made. I think they saw there's people that would come to the rink because of it. I think that they wanted all the perks without dealing with any of the backlash. So, for example, uh, as the old saying goes in dating, it goes in influencing as well. You can do whatever you want to your woman, just don't bore her, because the second you bore her, she's not going to come. Well, unfortunately, I'm very authentically myself, and I entertain and piss off a lot of people. So you better be prepared to have both, right? It's the reality of the situation. I'm very authentic. I'm very confident. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. A lot of people don't like that. So there's some money to be made on both sides of the spectrum because that is influencing in a whole. They absolutely saw there was money to be made. They thought that there was money to be made, though. That's the thing. We're going to make money as long as he's here. Well, you actually don't make money by having me be the backup. You lose money by having me scratching in the stands because you've now just shown the entire world that you're not authentic. You screw around your players and you're taking advantage of your fans for money. Nobody wins after you do this, unfortunately. And it's exactly what happened. So now for the future, because now everything that I've shared is on the internet, it's on YouTube, on my podcast as well. Now future players are going to see, oh, well, the Motor City Rockers promised him X amount of dollars how many times and just kept lying to his face. I don't want to play there. Oh, the Watertown Wolves sold X amount of jerseys with his name on it, and then when push came to shove, oh, sorry, we can't pay you, we don't have money. Oh, by the way, we lied to you about this, lied to you about that. Everybody else is going to see that, and now they don't want to play for them either. Mississippi Seawolves, same thing. Port Huron Prowlers, every team, whatever I share online, people will see that. And let's be honest, it's not like there's 5 people watching. There's tens of thousands of people that watch everything that I say and that I do. Granted, there's some people that won't care, but an overall majority actually take it at face value because I'm authentic and I'm genuine to myself. So when I put that out there, that is now the brand and the identity of your team. So the Watertown Wolves, that is their new identity, is that they lie and they don't take care of their players. The Motor City Rockers, they want loyalty within their players. Well, if you're not loyal to your own players, why would they be loyal to you? And you disrespect them. Of course, they're not going to be very good to you. And it goes on and goes so on and so forth. Like I mentioned to you earlier, Sean, you pay me 30 minutes for my break and you give me some coffee on the job. I'll be so productive. I feel respected. You're going to get the best out of me. Everybody wins. If you treat me like shit, milk me for what I'm worth, by the end of it, nobody wins. And you're only hurting yourself. And I think still they are the greatest losers out of all of it. They lose the most because their fans get to see it. Fans.
All right, I hear you. So let me ask you this one more question to kind of, I want to say, finalize our talks about the Fed or whatever. But you've been with 3 different teams, and I'm sure you've had some good experiences there, but you've also had some bad experiences with all 3 teams. I want to say would we, but are you completely like wiping your hands, like you're done with the Fed, even if you could come back, or would you ever try to come back to a team and give it one more shot?
Yes and no. So I'll give this as an example. I had a, I don't care my wording. I had a team reach out about a month ago. Hey, Trav, we'd like to sign you, we'd like to bring you in. We need some shakeup, et cetera, et cetera. Things are going great. We're finalized, talking about getting a contract together. All right. I told that general manager and coach, and I said, listen, I want you to tell me what to expect. I want to know where am I going to be living? What is my living situation? Am I going to be the third, second, first guy? Be honest with me. I don't care what the answer is. I just want some honesty. The problem with that is if you give me that answer, now you're stuck. Now you can't be flexible and move whenever the time comes. So that guy went radio silent. I didn't hear anything for about a month. My agent calls me, hey, so-and-so is looking for a goalie. I said, oh, that is the guy that I talked to that seemed to not really want to give me a firm answer. Well, he's calling and he wants their goalie. I said, okay, we'll see what he says. Hey, I got Trav. We don't want Trav. I don't have any other better goalies. Trav's the best goalie that I have right now. Well, send me somebody else. Right? Like that basically sums it up, I think, as far as that goes.
Okay. So you're saying there's a chance.
So
you're saying there's a chance.
Let me answer your question in absolutes. I will never play for a Fed team that does not give me firm absolutes for what to expect, because I'm not going to go to play for a team that wants to use me for money, use me for following, have me sleep on the garage floor and hate my life and play with a bunch of degenerates that are disrespecting women, disrespecting their girlfriends, and going to try and find girls in the Watertown High School. I'm not going to deal with any of that garbage because that is so ridiculous. However, if a team had the balls to say, listen, this is the deal, we're going to put this on writing. You're going to be the number 2 guy, X amount of games, whatever the case may be. This is where you live. This is the salary. These are the expectations. And I have it in writing in my email inbox. Then we can talk. Until then, I will never play in the Fed ever again. And I will go to Europe next season, where my previous experience in Sweden and Norway were fantastic. I felt respected. I felt appreciated. I got an eye-opening, life-changing experience. And I was happy seeing a new part of the world with a new style of play. That is what I'm going to do until the Fed can figure itself out, which I don't think it ever will, unfortunately. So is there a chance? Yes. Could I also be on the moon? Possibly. Not likely, but it could happen.
So moving on from the Fed real quick,
there.
Let me ask you about this. So we now cover the UHL. We know, senior A hockey, whatever you guys want to call it, whatever. I've heard a bunch of nicknames for it. So what are your thoughts on this league?
hard to say. It's not an elite prospect, so it's not really overly enticing for myself outside of a good payday. There was a little bit of talks about having me go and play there, but since I left the Fed, I have a new network deal for my podcast, and that's doing extremely well. I have a couple other pokers in the fire for other business endeavors that are doing well. And at this point in time, it would take a pretty decent offer to get me out of this situation to give up living in Vancouver, give up my podcast network deal in my studio to go and play in the UHL or even in the Fed or anywhere else. So, um, again, I could be on the moon later this year. Is it likely? Probably not. Again, It could happen. But somebody's got to pony up their pockets to make a good offer. Otherwise, no.
Right. I was just thinking, I know you're, doing your podcast full time and, you got your YouTube series and everything like that. And your other business ventures, I don't know what they are. But, I mean, maybe the UHL could be a good fit for you because it's like a weekend commitment pretty much. I mean, it's really designed for people with jobs and with lives to where they just go on a Saturday evening, Sunday afternoon, just play a game and it's still competitive. I'm sure they don't make much money, if any, but I mean, it's for the love of the game, right?
I mean, if there's a situation where they wanted to cover my expenses for flights, so like let's say every weekend they paid for a round trip from Vancouver, Toronto to Detroit, or wherever else the team is going to be, I think that'd be like 350 Canadian for the whole round trip. I'm an Aeroplan member, so my bags would be free. They cover that. I come out, pick me up. Let's go play the games. Maybe pay me some money, maybe don't. Depends on the offer. Depends on the team. We could film some mic'd up content. Get me a videographer. I could be the face of the league. Pump out some really, really cool viral content, and that could also be a story for the podcast when I come back to Vancouver. That would be a great situation, a great setup. Would that happen? I don't know. I don't know anybody in the league. I don't know enough about the league to see if that would be ponied up by them, but you never know. Like I said, it could happen, but I don't know.
I just realized, I don't know if you'll like this answer or not, but the former GM of the Motor City Rockers is actually the commissioner.
Who?
Nick Russo.
He's the commissioner.
He's a commissioner.
One-eyed Russo?
Mr. Russo. He's a legend.
Does he got an eye patch?
No, he doesn't have an eye patch.
Oh, man, that's funny.
He actually came on our podcast. He was one of the earlier episodes. Pucks and Palm Trees. Look it up. It's in there.
Pucks and palm trees.
I am
because originally it was supposed to be Florida, but then he got involved with some people and they changed it up, and now it's going from 12 teams this year to 48 next year. I don't really know. I don't know. To me, that just seems crazy. But hey, I mean, he's a crazy guy, and like he said, go big or go home. So I guess he's going big.
I'll say this. This goes to Mr. Russo, goes to the UHL, goes to you, goes to everyone in the Fed or anybody else watching. I am very rational. I'm very open-minded. If the offer is right, I could play anywhere. At this point in time, the offer would have to be good for me to give up my current situation and my setup. Because to be honest with you, since I have left the degenerate living situation in Watertown and gotten away from that environment and that energy and focused just on myself and focused on my podcast, I'm probably the happiest I've been in my life in a very, very long time. And I don't think I'd be giving that up just to go and be miserable living in a house with 9 guys in one bathroom again. So if somebody wants to pony up the cash and make a good offer, I am available. Until then, I'm going to be working on the show and working towards an opportunity in Europe, being even more happy, getting to see more of the world, doing more traveling, and the Fed can continue doing whatever it wants to do because it will.
Being happy is key.
I don't even know how to necessarily say being happy, just being in a state of not being miserable and not hating your life and whatnot, I think is happiness in of itself. Like if I'm living, I have goals, I have things I'm striving towards doing, I enjoy what I do and I'm passionate, that's happiness to me. Like I love pushing the boulder up the hill. I love pushing the boulder up a hill on a team. I love doing it with the podcast, with my business endeavors, with myself as a man. I love doing all of that because there's something to work towards. I wake up in the morning, shit, I got to do this. I got to do that. Oh, damn, it's 10. I got more stuff to do. I'm doing stuff left, right, and center. I'm always working towards a goal, and it gives me purpose, makes me happy, makes me feel fulfilled. I'm just sitting there like, oh, well, I guess the new Netflix series is on tonight. I guess I got to go to practice. Like, no, that's not going to be. It's not going to make me very happy. I got shit to do.
It's not living, man.
Yes,
well, we are running a little bit low on time here, so do you have any final or closing remarks for Benchminer followers or Trav followers or Fed executives or whoever you want to talk to? The floor is yours.
I want to give a shout out to Nick, your guys' cameraman. Is it Nick? Nick, right?
Nick, yep, Nick edits all of our videos. He is a phenomenal photographer. Nick is in IT, so like I just got the phone in last night. I was like, bro, like I'm trying to set up my new house to have this type of internet. What do I need to do? And he's like, oh, you need some Cat 5 wire. You need to. I was like, dude, don't talk to me about that. Show me about that because you are not speaking my language right now. So yeah, huge shout out to Nick. Yep, Nick Moulton. He works in IT 9 to 5, and then after hours he does some cool hockey stuff with us. So big shout out, Nick.
Dude, he was the best photographer in the Fed. He got the best photos of me, which I turned into my trading cards, which I think I sent him out a set. Nick, if I haven't, please email me and I'll send you out a set because they're awesome because of your photos. You're a beauty, bud. To the fans of Watertown, thank you for your unconditional, unwavering support of myself. You guys deserve better. Thank you to the fans of Mississippi. You guys are fantastic. To any Fed executives watching, again, listen to your players, man. That'll give you the secret sauce to how to be successful, whether you like it or not, because they see everything that you don't see, right? And if you don't have loyalty within your players, you're not going to be successful long term. As far as the rest goes, subscribe to Bench Minor Hockey. This is an awesome show. And also, my show, Sling the Biscuit, which is on a network deal, we have an incredible, crisp, beautiful studio in downtown Vancouver at Wall Center. We have professional mics. I have a producing team, an engineering team. It is incredible. You should listen to it because it goes live every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. There's a video version on YouTube, which looks great. The audio is crisp on Apple and Spotify. And we do a little bit of Fed talk. We do more minor pro talk with my new co-host. And I think you're going to love it. It's awesome. It blends the visual aspects of my vlog that have been very successful with the audio experience of my storytelling on the podcast. I hope to see you on Sunday.
Real quick, what happened to Dave Wheeler?
Oh, man. Do we have time for the full story?
Let's send it.
Okay. So a network that I'm working for is called the Nation Network, and they have been very good so far. We started negotiating beginning of December for a network deal. Towards the end of December, they said, listen, we don't feel comfortable moving forward with Dave Wheeler because Dave was fired from Canadian radio about 6 years ago. If you Google it, it's probably the most famous Canadian radio firing in Canadian history. And he made some comments, which I do support him on. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but the network didn't feel comfortable with that. And originally I said, no deal. It's me and Dave or nothing. Dave then said, this is what is best for your career. And if you don't take this deal and try it out at least, I'm not doing the show with you. So at that point, Dave, being the incredible man and the incredible friend that he was, to the betterment of myself, tied my hands to take this network deal. Dave is still in Winnipeg working on his morning show and some other projects. But Dave allowed me to move forward for the next step of my career because of his unselfishness. So I just talked to Dave a couple days ago, and he's an amazing man, amazing friend. The show is not what it is without him, and I will be forever thankful for him. And hopefully there's one day where we can reunite in the show. But for the time being, I'm very happy and very blessed and grateful to have my network deal and doing it full time. I love it.
Well, thank you for that. I did not know that. Big shout out, Dave. I loved watching him on your show. I thought he was an excellent co-host. Brought a lot to your show. So kind of sucks we won't be seeing him on there anymore, but hey, I completely understand where he's coming from. He, that's a good friend right there.
That is an amazing friend, amazing man, amazing family man. I will say the show is different because it's never going to be the same. Like Dave has at the top morning show in Winnipeg for 20 years. He has the best experience you can get to have as a co-host. And my new co-host, Rob, it's not the same, but one thing that Rob does have that Dave didn't have is Rob has professional experience. He played in the American League, the East Coast. He's seen it all. And that's kind of where our show is kind of nestled in to two guys that have actually played pro hockey and seen the ins and outs of the grind, of the day-to-day schedule, of all that type of stuff. And I think that's where we're going to thrive because the clips that we've been posting have been doing really well. The episodes have been hot. And again, it's not going to be the same. It's going to be different. Well, I hope that everybody that listens to it loves the new version of the show.
Absolutely. Well, once again, Trav, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to check out your new show and see what the future holds for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Derek. And thank you, Bench Minor Hockey. You guys well. Go to Nick Tech Wolf.
Thank you.